stare at themselves on I'm just going to start that again. Who likes staring at themselves on video? Do I really look like that? When you have to present on Zoom, you must make sure you look professional and hold the audience's attention for your whole speech. Dr. Paul Newton is a speaker, brand storyteller, and coach for TEDx. In his talk today, Present Like a Pro on Zoom, he's going to show you how to take charge of your setup so you look good and command attention. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Brenda. And fellow Toastmasters, most distinguished guests, it's a real honor to be here. And I am going to share how you can use this virtual platform to present like a pro. Now, in this day and age of Zoom meetings, digital platforms, and the virtual conferencing, it has never been more important than ever to be able to present well. People have Zoom fatigue, they are multitasking, they're texting their friends, and doing anything just to try and survive the day. So if you have to present something and hold people's attention, your job is to hold presence and really keep attention while you're presenting. That's what I'm going to share with you today. The focus will be on really more of your setup, how you create your own Zoom stage, but equally important is how you craft your speech, how you handle your introduction, all the different things that we were doing in Toastmasters when we met in person. Those things are really important. Those will be covered actually next week in the Speechcraft. That's going to be an all-day event on Saturday. And you will learn so many things if you attend that, and then you'll get advanced in Toastmasters really rapidly. But I'm going to cover mostly what you can do with your setup. I don't usually set up like this for a regular Toastmasters meeting. It's because I'm the presenter. But to present like a pro in Zoom, there's 3 things you want to do. 1 is prepare really well for your talk. 2 is set up your Zoom stage, all this here. And 3 is show up like a pro. 3 things. To set up your Zoom stage, just don't take the easy route. You know, you have your screen right there and you think, well, what if I just put my speech right under the camera and I read it with enthusiasm? Well, people know that you're doing that and they tune out. So don't do that. The other thing is, don't be a talking head. Like, we don't want to see you showing up like this and just chatting. Or people will start emailing and texting. They're so sick of looking at that. So take advantage of the fact that you're on camera. Proper preparation. When I got introduced today, you notice that Brenda read an introduction. I crafted that introduction specifically for this talk. And I thought, what do the people that are attending this talk want to know about Zoom in particular? And what's the problem they're having, right? Because we're thinking, God, I look awful, or I can't believe I have that many chins. You need to think of a what's in it for me reason for people to listen to you. Give them that reason right from the start and tell them what they're going to get. When you're preparing, also practice like you're actually in person. You're at the podium. Try to go with no notes. I would suggest rehearsing and even use cue cards or something in your hand so that you're not tempted to go back to your screen and do the I can't find this look on camera, because that's really funny to look at, right? So memorize any of your personal stories, because they're your personal stories. You tell them to your friends anyway, and you chat about yourself at dinner and what happened to you in the day. So if you have a personal story, try to make it conversational. Those things keep people really interested, and it also contributes to your own presence while you're on camera. Let's talk about setting up your Zoom stage. First of all, you don't have to go all out. Now, I present on Zoom and I present to different groups using this platform. So I've invested in a few things to make me look better and more professional, but you can do a good job with just what you have around your house. So try and use the furniture you have. Most of us are working with a laptop or a cell phone, and just use the props around your house. You don't have to go fancy with lighting, mics, or sound or anything like that, but make sure you set it up in a way that you come across well. First things, where do you set up? Try to set up somewhere where you won't be disturbed. Now, I know in this day and age, there are kids at home, there are pets, we're all working from our space. So there's a number of things you can do to minimize those effects, but barring having a dedicated room where you present, work with what you have. So find a plain background. I actually bought this background. It's wallpaper. It cost me about $100 on Amazon, but it looks really cool. And I have another cement one that I'm going to put up somewhere else. You want to make sure you have good light, and this may not be at your desk. This isn't how I normally sit at my desk and work. And if I'm doing a regular Zoom call with people or clients, or just chatting with someone, I'm not going to stand here like this. With your background, look for a plain surface, anything that isn't going to distract from you. You can create interesting effects by having the rest of your room behind you and blurring it out. But then again, people may walk by, or other people are going, wow, what does Delphi have on the back wall there? And what is she eating later? So that's the thing you want to kind of avoid. Virtual backgrounds can be great. I find that sometimes your hair looks weird when you move. So those things, you need to try them out and see how it works for you. I can't even get them on my Mac anyway, so I don't use them. Now, a big one is framing, because we don't want to be a talking head. Now, notice that what you can see of me here is a big frame, and you see from the waist up, and above my head, I have some headroom, like a few inches of space. Headroom is really important, and I learned that from volunteering at Rogers on their community channel, and they would always be like, get your headroom, get the framing right, focus from the waist up, because that's how you avoid being a talking head. And the other thing is, see if you can keep your hands in the screen, because hands are a big part of trust. If you just see someone standing like this, it really decreases the trust level that people have for you. Now, lighting is really important. Now, I have some lighting set up, but I will show you what things can look like. So if I don't have light on my, this is my right side, I have this shadow. Now, my window is here on my left side, and I've covered it a little because the light has already changed, but it can blast you right out. So you want to choose the window that you're in front of, or where you're set up well. And you can sit up in front of a window, just make sure that you're facing it, because then the light is shining right on you. However, that changes what background I can have. But see how much better I look when the light is shining when I'm directly lit. If you are side lit, and they call that raking light, what happens is you get that shadow on half your face, and it also does nasty things to the little creases that you really don't want to show to people. Get yourself set up well in advance. Let me turn my light back on here. That is a big problem with Zoom, is its technology. And honestly, meetings actually typically start 10 minutes later than they are supposed to start, because people can't connect. They are having trouble with their sound, with their cameras. And this is a fact of life. If you're the speaker, show up early and make sure that everything is working. A lot of the places that you will present will have a tech check with you, either 10 minutes before, half an hour before, just so you can get set up. And I'm going to show you my setup here that I've just created from stuff around my house, because I want you to see that you can do this. And doing it in advance, well, let me let you know a little secret. Because of family circumstances, my mom now sleeps in my office. So I have bedding on my floor here and a dog bed down here. So there's a variety of things, but this is what my Zoom setup is today. I don't know if you can see it here, but I use this antique radio with a file box on top of it, and that's where my laptop goes. And then I used a bar stool here to set up my iPad, oh no, my keyboard. And I have my iPad there just to have some notes on it so I can have a glance down and see where I'm at, because this is an educational rather than a speech. So I can use slides. But that being said, I would suggest don't use slides. What should you wear? Wear a solid color, because cameras like solid colors a lot more than patterns. This, if you like, I would like to wear this, but when you move around, it causes a whole lot of shimmering and strange, distracting effects. So don't wear a pattern, and don't wear black or white because the light's drawn to it and it can do kind of strange things. When it comes to delivering your talk, I said this earlier, but hold your hands in the frame, because first you can gesture and you can use them to communicate. And secondly, again, you are building trust by holding your hands inside the talk. Where do you look? Well, if your camera lights up, look at that green dot, because that is eye contact when you stare at that thing. And reading off the screen, we can, again, always tell when somebody is looking down and reading something. And we actually do make comments on that when we give feedback in our feedback session. We can tell when you're reading. If you are using slides, I would suggest only use them if you have to, because when you share your screen, you become the little square at the bottom and you blend in with everybody else, and all people see are slides. And slides is another skill all in and of itself. Doing them properly is a technique you need to master. Most people, when they're using slides, they just have text all over it, and there's that text up on the screen. We don't see your face anymore, and all we hear is you going wah, 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 and text on the screen. So people start texting other people and doing other things. That's why I like to go with minimal slides, so I have video presence, I can stay engaged with you, and I command the meeting. Now, other things that you can do to be engaging, you can take advantage of the chat, but again, this is something that you'll want to practice. And it took me a little while to learn how to separate out that chat box and have it sitting on the side so I can glance at it and see what people are doing. The other thing is, don't ask people complicated questions if you're getting them involved in the chat. Like, get people to identify themselves if they've experienced something. Get people to share one-word answers so you can read them out or call them out and acknowledge them. But that keeps people connected to you and keeps them involved. So that's a way to encourage participation. Now, when it comes to your presenting, again, just make sure that you're well prepared for the talk. Set up your stage really well and show up like a pro. If you do these three things, you're going to up your level of Zoom presence. People will take notice and you will be asked back. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Back to you, Brenda.